Welcome everybody to week 3 of the Titans Immortal League. It is I, Banana Bread XD, with my co-host Cherry J here. We're in week 3 with Summit Esports Wawas versus Alcor Gaming. Summit Esports Alcor opting to take red side first game. So already you're gonna get straight into the draft.
Yeah, we do see both these teams ready and looking to rumble with a Skarner. Oh, baiting us out there with Skarner pick instead. Going to be opting in to take off the Aurora. A little bit of a newer character, but that mage proficiency that does come in that mid top lane flex will get taken offline. Same thing with Pantheon, similar boat where that can get flex in that support mid and top lane. And it is kind of interesting seeing that Pantheon getting taken off the board already, but you don't see this as that standard pick that most teams are really going to opt for. But it seems like Summit Esports is going to try and counter in kind, taking off a jungler of their own.
Yeah, so right now so far lots of just pocket picks for everybody here. Pantheon very flexible, as you just said, and Garen, Lisa, and Aurora, just those kind of like those picks that are just very comfortable that each team does not want to deal with. You always want to make your team as uncomfortable as possible. This draft is fearless, so anything that does get picked will not be able to get picked next game. So far, Summit Esports going with pretty contemporary draft here, pretty meta stuff. But looking at the scores, Summit Esports is currently 1-1 game score 3-3. Alcor Gaming is 0-2 1-4 game score. So this is pretty heavily Summit Esports favored. Pretty much it's 5 teams that are 1-1 in Schedule A here, the Immortal League Group A. So pretty much every single game is going to count going toward these playoffs here. We only got a couple more weeks of games here, about 4 weeks more after this one, and at least it's going to get snapped up here by Summit Esports.
Elise definitely a strong pick in the current meta. We see Elise getting flexed to the support lane quite a bit, but it also can get picked in its primary role, which is that jungling potential. Now, over towards the Owl Corps, they're going to be running down with that Cassante by the looks of it. A very strong, very tanky top laner to move into. So Owl Corps definitely going to like that pick a lot. Summit Esports seeing a top lane getting picked in the first side of the draft, definitely an unorthodox option from Alcorps to opt in for. But I assume Summit Esports is going to want to counter with their own top laner right away. But they also could be a little bit weary in the sense that there is chances for that to be a mid laner. However, that mid lane chance is going to get even lower now that we see Nico getting locked in.
So Alcor looking to opt to grab their solo lanes here. Nico obviously still very flexible into that support role. Cassante also into that mid role. So Alcor kind of opting to grab those champions that are very flexible. You can kind of throw them around the map. You never know where they're going. So Summit kind of have to be on their toes. Same thing with Elise. Elise has been recently put into that support role. That cocoon adds a lot of power, at least adding a lot of extra base damage. Orianna getting snapped up here. So Orianna just overall a staple mid laner. Nothing too crazy. Nothing, not super great, not super bad. But just in organized play, Orianna is just so elite that the combos you can have are just absolutely insane here. Some esports looking to possibly snap a top laner here before those picks get banned away. So Yone and Jace being up in the top there, but Nocturne going to get snapped up there, looks like, for the jungle.
It definitely is interesting seeing the Nocturne get locked in the first split of the draft, seeing as that does kind of confirm the fact that Elise will most likely be played in the support position, which does give a little bit more information over to the Alcorps Gaming. But let's see how they do react. Do they just want to lock in a jungler to counter? That most likely would be the best option, and they're not going to do that. Instead, going to be going for a bot laner, locking in the Xayah here. I mean, I'm definitely intrigued to see how this Sai is going to turn out. Will they try and combo this with the Rakan? Obviously, there's 2 ban spots left for Summit Esports, so there is always going to be a lot of chances to really take away some of those options. But instead, we're going to be seeing a Caitlyn taken off the board to start us off in this second draft of bans.
It looks like Alcor kind of going to start pinching that ADC pool. They want to get the Xayah into a very favorable matchup. Xayah hasn't been in the greatest meta lately. She's super short range, so she kind of gets outranged, out traded, outscaled by most other ADCs in the meta. So Corki, Caitlyn, Ash, stuff like that. As we see Rakan getting taken away, and the Lovers do it will not be here. But Alcor looking kind of draft like this team that's looking to play front to back here. They're depending on this Nocturne Elise diving in and kind of popping them in these team fights. So they're kind of banning away these strong meta ADCs here. So it's gonna be they're pinching that ADC pool pretty well here for Alcor. They really want to get that bot lane matchup going here. But for now, I mean, Summit Esports, they have a lot of options here. They're looking for this strong wombo combo and these strong side lanes here to be able to contest and play more towards the side.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting seeing both long range bot laners get taken off the board immediately. There's not a lot of longer range characters in that bot side to opt in for if you are Summit Esports Wawas, but they could definitely go for that Aphelios or maybe something like a Jinx to try and get some real damage in. But right now, I mean, the composition definitely does look strong from both sides. I think I inherently favor this Owl Corps gaming side a little bit more just because of the tankiness that does come from that Cassante, which doesn't really seem to be appearing from some of these sports right now. They kind of have three weaker kind of players, but we're going to be seeing the Kali come out, most likely going to be in the mid lane. And I mean, I'm totally intrigued to see how that's going to match up against an Orianna. Two AP characters clashing at the mid lane, both with completely different styles of play.
It's so interesting to see because you have this strong front to back composition, and then you have this Akali kind of rounding it out. It's a little weird, but it does work out in the end. We'll see how it goes with how they play as Jax is going to get locked in for that blue side pick here coming out into the second phase. Jax being one of those champions that is notorious for being a bully early, so should be able to do pretty well into that Cassante and able to kind of crush him and match him up in the side lane later. And Vayne is going to be the last pick here for Summit Esports. You don't see Vayne very often. Definitely Zaya not being able, one of those champions that's not able to punish it very well early. So Vayne will have a nice field day in that bot lane early on here to scale up. So we're to see what Alcor pick here, but kind of looking at their team, they kind of want a little bit more setup here. They're lacking in that category. You have some esports diving in all the time, and Wukong is going to be that pick. So it's going to be Nico support with Wukong jungle here as Alcor round out their composition here for that geared for that team fighting front to back.
Yeah, as the draft ends, we get to see this Wukong go clash in the jungle against a Nocturne. Now, what are we thinking here? Just based off of draft, who is your favorites coming into this match?
Overall, I mean, I kind of give it to Owlcore just because their comp has a lot of ease of access. They're kind of depending on Summit Esports to just play into that dive. You have a Nico, you have a Zaya. You don't want to dive into those champs. Then you have the Wukong knockup, Cassante Trailmaker. Like, it's so hard to play into that team and pick somebody off at the beginning of a fight. So you're just gonna have to full on fight, but they also have a lot of skirmishing power early on. Some of the esports, they have to play very well. This team has been established for a while. They are all pretty high ranked relative to Owl Esports. So they should be able to make this work. They have that synergy. So we're going to have to see how they kind of make it up in this game one.
As we head in, I mean, I'm kind of intrigued by this Nico support. I think that could be a good pick, but it really has to be piloted well since Nico is just such a volatile character. But if you can't find the value you need, it's going to definitely cause some problems. Summon Esports, on the other hand, it's a lot of very simple characters to pilot, besides maybe the Elise and the Oriana. Um, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to be able to try and adapt into that. The team fights are really going to be where Summit Esports needs to win, though, because if you're not able to really start stacking dragons, especially when you have this strong bot lane, it's definitely going to start putting a little bit of pressure on you to kind of create that gap that you need to start leading the game.
And overall, looking at these comps, everything is a matchup. Every single game matters in this group. For now, we're going to take a quick little break before we go over to the spectate delay and get onto the rift for game one between Summit Esports Wawas and Alcor Gaming. Welcome everybody as we get onto the rift for game one between Summit Esports Wawa and Owlcore Gaming. Once again, it is I Banana Bread XD with my co-host Cherry J here. Looking across the board, nothing too crazy summoner wise or rune wise, but already seeing some shenanigans here for Owlcore. Kind of want to pull something here in that bot lane. But otherwise, it's a pretty standard start here for both junglers. They're going to start up on that top side here, work their way down. So expect to see some heavy skirmishing, you know. Summit Esports kind of have to leverage that lead early. So because the team fighting for Alcor is very scary here. You're going to have to play it picture perfect.
Yeah, immediately we look towards this bot lane. The Elite's gonna take a little bit of early poke damage. Boy, wife, not gonna be totally happy with that, but that's what you get when you're playing against these mage supports. They come in aggressive, they look to poke, and they look to do it well while maintaining that distance, keeping that gap still between their opponents. And now moving up towards this bot lane once more, we do get to see these minions start to get destroyed. As we heard from our producer earlier, this team in Summit loves to play aggressive. They love to go for engagement, so I don't really expect this game to see that few of kills. You know, we're probably going to be seeing somebody die within the next couple minutes.
And like you said, you know, they Summit Esports are very skirmish heavy. They are going to have to, they love to fight, and they're going to have to fight. They want to push this tempo here in this game. They want to leverage what lead they have now before those big team fights over neutral objectives start to happen. But pings coming through, they already do spot the Wukong on that Raptor ward here for Summit, and they also spot Morn on his own Raptors. So both junglers, both teams are tracking that junglers. It's going to be a very early 3v3 bot here soon.
Back over towards the mid lane. Yeah, you said it right there. We see both the Nocturne and the Wukong both tunneling down towards the bot side of the map. And when it comes down to it, both of these teams are really going to be wondering who's the first jungler to make that gank. Since, as we know, low level bot and support can become so easy to kill when a jungler appears, especially when neither of your supports are playing something like a Nautilus, like a Blitzcrank, like a maybe even a mouth fight support. It's all these characters who are so tanky and just completely take those stuns to the next level and are able to get you away. We see this once more, and it's going to be the Nocturne to be the first one to create some pressure. However, the Wukong is going to be able to approach for a pinch by the looks of it. Yes, they will. Trying to go for the Scuttle Crab. Instead, it's going to lead for a Knight to come through, and it's a lot of people diving on in.
Yep, first Scuttle will be obtained here by Radiohead. So Alport looking to move up towards that top Scuttle, but top side Sprinkler is pushing up on Orange. He doesn't have more mana, one more 100 HP, jump strike. It barely going to flash on out there. Sprinkler still retaining both his summoners here, forcing Orange to reset and teleport back to get the wave. But Radiohead is going to get aggressed upon, flashing out of the Fear Tether. So it looks like Morn does have have smite, and Radiohead gonna claim the other Scuttle Crab. He does not have his W quite yet. No flash. Orange coming here to help. And here he comes in. Not quite gonna get the shield on him. But bot side, they're also gonna pull the feathers back. They're gonna get the kill onto the Elise here. Here goes Timo Kyria going into the bush. There goes the barrier. Nanto no Asura gonna get the kill, but it's gonna be a double kill going to Virjangju. And it's going to be the feat of feat of warfare not collected yet, but it's gonna be 2 for 2 on both ends of the map here, dead even so for both teams.
Oh wow, a great job coming in from Summon Esports. They're strangling their opponents. Unfortunately, Sprinkler was just not fast enough to be able to retaliate against the opponent in that I'm actually drawing a blank here. The Zaya, oh my gosh, I could not remember the name of the player. That is so unfortunate. But what isn't unfortunate for some esports is this HP gap that we see up towards the top lane here. Able to really put a stranglehold on these minions and kind of just completely develop themselves into this game. This Jax has already created such a lead in this bar. They're going to be the first one to level 6. And despite the Kazante able to go all out, they're going to have to deal with the massive amount of armor that's going to be given over to Sprinkler once they are able to pop that ult and get that extra damage in.
For now, Sprinkler's accruing himself a pretty sizable lead here. Same thing with Mei in that mid lane. So they are asserting their dominance early game so far. The feat of warfare not claimed for either team yet. Drake's already spawned. It's going to be a Cloud, but Nato no Asura. Gonna get caught out here. Very nice fancy feet. Gonna dodge on all the roots. Nice hit back with the E, but Timo Kyria is going to claim the feat of warfare for his team here. But Morn will start up the grubbies in the top side, so it will not be uneven trade here.
And we do see this Summon Esports squad willing and ready to trade grubs for the first dragon of the game. And I mean, I don't totally hate it. I think that it's probably going to be the ideal situation when the bot lane of the Owl Corps is up so far. Already, the Zaya has purchased the pickaxe and the longsword, which is going to give you such an excessive amount of DPS. Sun comes through onto both top laners. We see the all-out coming in from the Jax here, able to go in aggressive for that. And immediately getting tagged by a turret. It seems to be a blunder from Sprinkler.
Yes, Sprinkler not having a lot of mana, setting up for this dive here. Elise will take the prio first. There he goes with the repel, going to get that kill up in the top side. 3 for 3 for both sides of these teams. But so far, it's still pretty much dead even. Just a slight gold lead here. Orange down a significant amount of CS and a couple plates.
I'm really looking forward to seeing if Summon Esports is going to be able to keep up this lead, because right now it definitely seems like they're in a good spot with their jungler of their opponents and the top laner both falling at least once, immediately losing 2 plates in the top lane. It's definitely not going to be looking good, and it kind of does show how this draft kind of reacted into the game. It shows that Owl Corps, the reasoning for why they locked in their top lane and their mid lane so early on was due to the fact that they really wanted to focus towards their bot lane, give them as much counterplay as possible. And we see why here, with a 2-0 with 1 assist, Zaya on the board at just 7 minutes and 50 seconds. It definitely shows that this is a team that wants to play for their bot side of the map. And realistically, with this Wukong trap being set up once more, we saw it before where the Zaya pretended to be that Wukong and got them to be a little bit defensive about it. It just shows how good Owl Corps is at kind of just tricking their opponents and utilizing this Nico to its fullest potential.
Yeah, they're looking for a dive here in the bot side. That's a nice cocoon there to stop Radiohead from dashing in, but Nanto no Asura is alone under the tower. But the rest of his team is coming in. Morn does have the ultimate here, looking to dive in when ready, but not ready to turn out the lights quite yet here. As Boywi forced the flash away. Cocoon gonna go wide. Morn starting up this red buff that Radiohead does know he's there. But he's going in, breaks the tether. He keeps on going in. Rest of his team is coming in to assist, and that should be a red buff going over to the side of Owlcore.
Yeah, contesting for red buff, able to steal away Summit Esports' own camps. Now come back over to the top line. Oh no!
May coming in, but there goes the lights coming in. But Wukong gets immediately obliterated there. The ult not gonna do anything for him as Lakespur uses the R2 to get on out there. Morn absolutely destroying the Wukong there before he could get the full charge of the ult off. But bot side, Team Lucaria going on the flank here. Not quite going to land the stun, going invisible, flashing away from the root. And Sprinkler is a little low on mana here. Going to have to be careful of that all out. But so far, lots of skirmishing, as we said before, already averaging a little under a kill a minute here.
Sprinkler going to be playing aggressive, trying to keep up the trades, doing a great job at doing so, maintaining their CS lead. However, the chainmail armor already getting picked up for this Cassante. It just raises the bar so much for how much damage you're going to need to inflict if you want to be able to secure a kill onto this orange once more. Now, as we know, I'm the cherry, you're the banana, but it seems like this orange might just be the top of this game with a lot of CS, despite being against Sprinkler, who's shown time and time again that they can be a very proficient top laner. Oh, they're going to be able to mark their opponent in mid lane, but Larkspur does not seem to try and all out on this. Despite that, they're going to be canceling the back, trying to get a little bit of damage in, able to do a great job while doing so, however, not over-aggressing. Instead, this Nico is going to start moving towards the mid lane, but we see a 3-on-2 skirmish potentially coming up.
There goes the root. Mei baiting very well. Still relatively healthy. Just half HP. There goes the Cocoon right on top of Team Lucaria. Gonna pop the ultimate. Only gonna land onto one, but it's gonna get spell shielded. Legspur going into the shroud, but will get sent back to his grave as he gets sent back to the fountain. 6-3 here between Summit and Owl Court. It's just about a 2.5k gold lead, 3k gold lead for the side of Summit, but it looks like Orange wants to go in here. Not a lot of mana on Mei, trying to hold onto this wave. Does not have teleport, actually. Does stick with the barrier, but Nanto no Asura are gonna get some plates in that bot side here, kind of accrue a little bit more of a lead for himself here. Django is going to get a nice pullback on the feathers here, getting very aggressive on the trade. Gonna track up onto that Elise on the side here. Team Lucaria marking to make sure to keep his ADC safe, but constantly Sprinkler getting lower and lower. Radiohead does have the Cyclone, but the Condemn knocks him back, won't allow for anything else. But so far, both these teams are posturing. They want to get these grubs coming up in about a minute and a half, and Drake gonna get started up at that Alfor.
I mean, we see in the top lane here that tower is starting to take a little bit too much damage to really let this slide, especially when you look at the Essence Reaver already being built up by this Xayah. Doing a great job. You've got to think that Django is kind of just a very potential 97 CS still, despite moving up towards the top lane. The Vayne still is unable to keep up with the CS, but it's not going to be for long. Owlcorp is still able to maintain their composure and fight through, taking a trade 3 grubs for another Drake once more. This equals 6 grubs. We're going to be seeing Void Grubs spawning on the turrets now, and 2 dragons. That leaves them 1 off of Dragon Point. Flash into the ult from the Nico, but there's going to be more. Ulting straight on in, able to secure the first kill, but oh no, it's still going to be, despite a counterattack, Larkspur's the one to fall.
That was a nice gank there by the Nico, but does not knowing it's very gotta be careful setting up those fights there. Morn can be anywhere on the map and can ult in at any time, turn off those lights. So Lakespur really down in the dumps right now, down 30 CS, only has the Merc Treads and the Hextech Alternator, so not really able to do that damage. Hard to leverage any kind of lead, but Team Lucaria has some money in his pocket, you know, especially on a support salary, but it's still a very sizable lead. 3k gold lead in favor of Summit Esports, 6 grubs. That Jax is going to be an absolute menace in these side lanes.
Really looking to be seeing more and getting called out by the Vision coming through from the ward, but immediately Orange pushing up. Right about now, we do see a couple of engagements coming around across the map, but it looks like most teams are just going to be in a stalemate when it comes to those 2-on-1s, 2-on-2s potentially in some cases. Nocturne's the only one not really playing in that proficient angle. We'll get to see this bot lane once more trying to fight, and with a cannon wave coming up, it's going to be more than likely that we get to see some engagements there.
Ooh, Orange going to use the Trailmaker to get on out there, but so far, Summit are kind of pulling away with this game here. They're kind of asserting their lead. Sprinkler not really caring. Going to get that Demolished proc. Place just expire before he gets those plates. But Drake not going to be spawning for another 3 minutes. Kind of just both these teams kind of skirmishing, trying to leverage whatever small leads they can. But Orange, he's looking to go in, Counter-Strike, not going to land. But he wants to get that flip into the tower with the all-out there. Wukong is in the bot side, going to get spotted on the ward. So not able to look for that gank here. Once again, it might be another 3v3 in the bot side. But Sprinkler looking for a dive, but Orange kind of snuffing it out there immediately. But yeah, Orange is in a massive deficit. What is that, 50 CS against the Jax here. Jax already has the Triforce. Morn looking for that Paranoia. Boy Wife going forward. Gonna get rooted up. Gonna have to be careful flashing away from the autos. But that's gonna be first tower claimed in the mid lane. There goes the Paranoia right on top of the Xayah. Gonna use the Feather Storm to get out of it, but not quite gonna use the spell shield enough. Gonna pull the feathers back, gonna root more, and that's gonna be a big shutdown going over to Jago. Nanto no Asura popping the ultimate. Will not get anything in return. Radio ahead here to help his team claim this bot lane tower. And it's gonna be a deficit cut down just a little bit with this tower getting taken down. 2 Drakes already still. And a massive shutdown going over the Jangu 3-0-1.
It really was just a really good fight from the Owlcorps there, with a great ult coming in from the Xayah. Jengu just kind of completely denying anything from Morn pushing up on them. And then after that, we saw the same type of play that you really do love. The Nico dashing in with the flash, able to connect onto 2. Unfortunately, they were not able to secure the 3rd, but despite that, they were still able to go out unscathed, able to pick up a kill, and Owlcorps are still fighting here, looking to keep themselves into this game and doing a great job. We see the Otacon going to be spawning in the top side of the map, and we can already look at the mini-map in the bottom right and see some of the enemies on this red side looking to connect, while the blue side is still just kind of holding their towers, not really pushing up aggressively.
Radiohead gonna get the Cyclone. Boy Wife gonna whiff with the Cocoon, but Radiohead gonna get that Shockwave on top of him, and he will get put into a grave. As top lane, gonna get the Demolish proc, gonna get that tower. Orange gonna get aggressed upon, does have the all-out, does have the flash. Gonna have to be careful as the Grandmaster Spike gonna come through, gonna get a little extra DPS. Gonna flip back Sprinkler, but not much gonna happen else. But looks like both these teams, they're still, even though Alcor, they are 1 short, they might look to contest this Herald. This is a little ill-advised here, but they're looking to contest a little bit of vision. It's a 2v4, they're gonna have to back out as the Herald will go over to the side of Summon Esports Wawa.
I mean, it's just gonna be a Herald conceded, looking to take more, with some damage coming out from this Nico. Let's see. Towers getting assaulted, completely denying anything on it, especially with the Kali coming into play, but the Jack's going to be playing aggressive here, clearing out the enemies, forcing them to back out, making Owlcorps wait, but it seems like we might be seeing contention for the next Drake.
This would be the sole point. It's going to be Infernal Soul here is the spice of life for this game here. But it looks like priority taken by Summit Esports. They're kind of messing around, playing around this tower, playing around the Drake here. A little bit indecisive, you know. They're going to have to probably sacrifice one or the other here. But mid lane prior is going to equal out temporarily here for both sides. Cocoon going to land right on top of Orange. But for now, not a lot of vision in that river. So Alcor, they're going to have to walk in blind here. Lakespur going to get chunked there by the shadows. But he is in a massive deficit. Already just got the Storm Surge teleporting in. Sprinkler going to knock down that bot lane tier 1 tower. So right now, it's both teams at a stalemate, looking to see who will pull the trigger first. All ults are open for both teams, and that's going to be a pop. Blossom only onto 1. Going to get the spell shield. Root onto the Nocturne. Going to turn off the light. He's going to try to run away, but going straight onto the Xayah. Janku, it will get shut down. But the Wukong going to flash over. Going to get the Cyclone more onto Boy Wife, but he's getting taken down. Nanto no Asura. Going to pick up the double kill. Going to pick up the triple, and that's going to be a 1-for-0 or a 1-for-5 ace here. Quadra kill going over to Nanto no Asura.
14 kills to 6. Summit Esports closing the door, shutting it in Owlcorps' face with a phenomenally done round of game number 1. I mean, it's not over yet, but it's looking like it will be. 20 minutes into the game, it's already absolutely dominant from Summit Esports here, taking many towers, leaving only 2 tier 2 towers remaining after that. It's Summit Esports to completely dominate, securing the Drake as well as almost the entire team in just one ace. It was absolutely phenomenally done. We can see it from this KD alone, with 4 players having bounties over their head. Owl Corps really needs to climb a mountain if they want back into this game. And it seems like Summit Esports, they know they've basically won because they're looking to force fights here. We see it right now with the Elites pushing up aggressively, and everyone's going to respect this space.
Absolutely. Summit Esports, they use the strengths of their early game. They look for these skirmishes, and they decimated Alcor on 2 ends of the map here. Jengu did get a massive lead, but had that Featherstorm didn't pop it there, it looks like didn't really expect Morn to go on in there with his dying breath. But Cocoon gonna land right onto Lop Lakespur. That is a support at least there, folks. As Lakespur gonna get chunked to half HP, and there goes the R2 going through. Lakespur gonna pick up his first kill and a massive shutdown there on that Elise.
Oh, wow. Wow. It seems like maybe some of these sports faltering with at least falling down to 2 deaths for map number 1 here. I mean, they're still doubling in kills. It's really seeming like some of these sports has this game, but it does seem like Alcorps is showing some signs of life as well. The tower in the mid lane here. This is still tier 1, however, it is very close to falling down. Let's see if it will eventually. Obviously, if you leave it unguarded for just a couple seconds, it could easily be shut down because there's a lot of destruction in this Alcorp squad when they have that Cassante, Nico, and Akali who can all burst down minions relatively fast. It's definitely going to be extremely easy to shut down a tower. Oh, using the blast cone, looking to go for the damage, and Sprinkler with an ultimate. Gonna be the one to... Oh, letting them live.
Sure. Grandmasters might come through for a little extra damage, but that is a very slippery Akali. As Alcor looking to try to assert a little bit of dominance in that topside jungle, but they have no more prio in their own home. As they're trying to retake a little bit of vision here, they really don't want to give up this Otacon. Otacon and Baron are up in that top side here, but Radiohead going in with a Cyclone. That's going to be a root just going a little wide there for onto Nanto no Asura, but he will get out there with the ultimate. So far, that's going to be a very crucial cooldown here, but nothing coming up real soon. Orange using the Trailmaker to get on out there, flashing away from the Shockwave. As the lights are going to go out, there goes the Nocturne going into the top side. Spell Shield onto the All Out, and that's going to be a kill going over from Orange in the top tailing tier 2. And 6 drugs will make short work.
Yeah, I mean, you can really see here why this Nocturne is just the greatest player of all time. You can see it here with some of these abilities they've been putting online. Herald comes down into the top lane. Boy Wave's gonna fall, but it still seems like Alcorps does not have a response in any fashion. 4 players over towards mid lane, trying to ult up. The Nico's gonna fall, and Summit Esports takes the first inhibitor.
Yeah, using that power, killing that Cassante. That one Cassante killed netted him 2 towers and an inhibitor with just a single Herald. So now they're pushing up that lead, 10k gold lead in favor of Summit Esports. Now at this point, it's honestly just a matter of time. You know, there's so much standing gold here for Alcor, but they're not able to really get out their own base here. They can't set up any vision. They can't really do anything. But it looks like Otacon will get started up here. It will get shredded, and it's going to go over with no contest. Drake's going to come up in about 40 seconds here, as Summit are going to go straight to that also.
Otacon will fall, giving the resurrection over towards the entirety of the team of Summit Esports. 16 kills are on the board. With a Akali playing a little bit aggressive here, maybe a support will be able to kill them. However, they're going to be able to mark them, and they want to play aggressive. Result comes through, hitting on to the cone, looking to get out of play. We go back over towards the jungle. We see this informational battle looking to go in the favor of Alcorps, destroying a bunch of wards. However, not going to go. Oh, no, they will destroy the last one. However, they're instantly replaced down, giving some more vision over towards Summit Esports. 4 players in the jungle over here, going to be called out by a ward, forced to destroy immediately. But it seems like Summit Esports can be the first team to the punch to make this dragon their way.
I mean, Django, he has a lot of money. You know, he's very strong, but Alcor, the rest of his team is so far behind. They can't really play these team fights how they want to play. Radiohead going in very early, very often. So gets the charge of the Cyclone, but not really having the rest of his team to follow up. As the rest of Summit Esports, they're going to go 5 into mid here, trying to knock down this mid lane inhibitor tower. They still have the Ferocious Atacon false life buff. They are going to make great use of it here, as all 3 inhibitors will go down for the side of Alcor at about 24.5 minutes. But they might look to end the game here as the Paranoia going on in. That's going to be a 4-man shockwave, and the Jax is going in. Going to get a 4-man knockup as the Pop Blossom onto 3 members in the backside, as all the false life is going to go down. These are not real victories. It is only a false life here, as only no members will go back. Oh, it's going to be more, but they are going to be starting to kill all these members of Alcor. They're going to be ending the game. Sprinkler has no more mana, still has the Otacon buff. Lake Spur is in his own fountain, not able to get anything. He is slowly getting killed in his own home, but the fountain will get focused by Nanto no Asura, and he will end the game here, as it's going to be a 19-8, 25-minute victory here for Summit Esports Wawa.
Summon Esports taking the win in game number 1, doing a phenomenal job while doing it. Despite finding some kills, even if they won the fight, L Corps would be instantly faced with another assault coming in. So Summon Esports, definitely this Wawa roster doing a phenomenal job, completely closing out the game. Owl Corps Gaming, they had a good attempt. They looked good towards the start, with Nico doing some great outplays. However, when it came to that scaling, you cannot do it like what we saw from the Nocturne of Summit Esports, making ults to really start fights, engaging on their opponents, and being that playmaker, especially when it comes to that stride breaker that they had bought early into the game, reducing your opponent's speed, increasing your own. It really just helped with Summit Esports complete domination within the game.
Yeah, Summit Esports, like we said at the beginning, they took advantage of the strengths of their composition. Their team fighting isn't the greatest in the world, but every single lane accrued a very sizable lead for themselves. Nobody on Alcor was really able to, except for Jengu, was able to really assert their lead. Jengu got a lot of early kills, but everybody else was so far ahead. The Featherstorm can only really block one thing, so that means everybody else can kind of layer it in. So Alcor, they're going to take the L in that game 1. Summit Esports going up 1-0. So already looking at this game 1, it's looking very dominant here for Summit Esports, ending that game in about 25 minutes. They took control of every single objective, except for those 2 early Drakes. But they took advantage, took those grubs, knew exactly what they wanted. Jax ended the game. But for now, we're going to be taking a quick little break as we start getting ready for draft for game 2 between Summit Esports Wawas and Alcor Gaming. back, everybody, for draft game 2 between Alcor Gaming and Summit Esports Wawa. This time, Alcor will opt to go onto the blue side here, looking to grab some of those priority picks for themselves here. But to reiterate, this is Fearless Draft. So Jax, Nocturne, Oriana, Vayne, Elise, Cassante, Wukong, Akali, Zaya, and Nico will not be available to be picked for the next game here. But looking over at the draft again, I mean, it looks like it's going to be the same things going over again. This time, Jarvan going to be replaced here. I don't remember what was Owl banned the first time, but Jarvan going to get banned away here. So lots of jungler focus here for Owlcore. Morn had a pretty sizable impact last game, but it was mostly just kind of each lane doing their own due diligence here, doing very well to put down their respective opponents here. But some of esports are looking to just ban kind of the same things also.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing. Oh, a Vi going to be picked out, looking to ban a lot of the junglers in this match. Instead, I guess they really thought that Nocturne was a problem, so they're going to make sure to limit the potential in this game. And number 2, so to reiterate what we saw before, it was a little bit different where we saw a little bit more of those different junglers. I think we saw Skarner banned towards the end of the draft. This time, however, moving towards those skirmishing junglers, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Viego ban, since that is kind of similar to what we're seeing right now. But instead, we're going to be seeing that Yone get locked in next.
So Yone, again, another good strong flex pick here. You don't really know what's going. Could go top, could go mid, but it is predominantly played by Sprinkler. So both these teams kind of putting a lot of emphasis on locking in these early picks for their top laners. Not too scared, very confident in the abilities of their top laners. Alcor banning a lot of these ADCs. You know, since Zaya's off the table, you got to ban these junglers that can hardcore lock down. But that's 5 jungler bans. Pretty crazy in this game. That's just a testament to the amount of jungle pressure that both these junglers put down here. So some of these sports, they're going to lock in that Jinx here. So a lot of that strong lockdown is taken away. So that allows for a lot of strength for the hyper carry. And you're going to have a Jinx Lulu bot lane here. A very staple pick here. Enchanters have been kind of picking up a little bit more in the meta here. So Alcor, they're going to have to be a little resourceful here. They're going to have to dig into the bag of the champs they want to pick. But you're going to need a lot of lockdown for that Jinx. Nautilus is still up on the table here. So Alcor, they have a couple options.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting seeing that Jinx. I was kind of expecting it in game number 1, but I guess they want to wait till they pull it out in game number 2. Looking in the Kai'Sa to try and get a little bit more of that scaling power. Kai'Sa, very strong character. As we know, when they evolve their abilities, they definitely can become extremely volatile, extremely game-changing, especially when it comes to some of those late-game Kai'Sas who end up getting a penta and get those really good games. Owl Corps, they still get one more pick. Let's see what they do tend to go for. Will they lock into support just to see what the opponents are going for? They will. Rakan getting banned out in game number 1, not going to be banned out in game number 2. Instead, it's going to be isolated by Owl Corps to take for their choosing. Kai'Sa, Rakan bot lane up against a Jinx Lulu. Kai'Sa, Rakan, a little bit more of that slow-paced game where they can pounce on whoever they want, while some of these sports, they want to play really aggressive with that bot lane, especially when you've got that Lulu to support.
Absolutely. Alcor, they did take away the Recon. Summits did ban away that Recon last game, but now this time, Timu Carrier will be able to play it this time around. Renekton being locked into that top side for some esports, so it looks like they're calling the bluff here. They think that Yone could be going top here. Renekton is a notorious counter to the Wind brothers there, being Yasuo and Yone. You know, point click CC, nothing to really dodge, nothing very simple. You don't really need to worry too much. But some of these sports looking to put more bans into the jungle here. They really want to put Lakespur down. But last game, Lakespur had a really Radiohead. He was having a bit of a rough time, you know, looking for those team fight ultimates, but his team wasn't really around enough to follow up on those engages. So we're going to see what kind of pick he can pull out here, because this jungler pool is getting really pinched. That is 7 junglers off the table here. So this jungler pool is slowly dwindling here. So both these teams are gonna have to kind of reach deep down, pull out some crazy pocket picks that we probably haven't seen before.
Yeah, now we're going to be seeing the Xin Zhao taken off the table as well. A lot of jungle bans have come out today, and still no one has locked in their jungler. So still, Owl Corp will get the last pick. Do they decide to ban out jungle just to really pinch the ideas? Because we still have that Wukong and the Nocturne off the table, just to reiterate. So to see even more, Nidalee's going to be taken out too. So Summit Esports Wawas, how will they? Do you pick your jungle now, or do you wait till Owl Corpse picks one of their own, which will limit your pool to even less? And we're going to be seeing that Diana. Now this could be flex towards mid lane. It could be flex towards that jungle. I'd have to imagine that it's a jungle pick, but it still could be anyone's guess.
Summit Esports, they have a chance. They could pick Yasuo here, but they'd be a little AD forward, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You know, Alcor, they don't have a true tank, so a full AD team wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for Summit. So they could look for that combination. Or Alcor, they could just look to take it away. You know, you have Yone, you have Rakan, you have a lot of setup for the Yasuo pick. So both these teams, they have the option to pick it up. So Alcor, they're gonna have to kind of make a business decision here. Do you want to pick up the Yasuo, or do you want to possibly give it away for the combination? Hecarim is being picked up here, so that's definitely a jungler that's deep in the pool here, and Ornn gonna get locked in for that top side pick for Alcor. So that Yone will get piloted by Lake Spur. So last game he didn't have a lot of priority, you know, getting put down in the dirt. That Akali was in a really rough shape against the Orianna. Let's see how Lake Spur does this time with the Yone to pilot. And Orange going to pilot another strong top tank in the top side with that Ornn. So Summit Esports, they could give it to us. They could give us the Yasuo. But looking over here, it doesn't look like Mei really plays it all that much. So it's going to be Smolder. You don't see Smolder very often here. So Summit Esports, they have a very strong scaling composition with a little emphasis towards that top side there with the Renekton. In Alcor, they drafted themselves a very tight team fighting composition. So both these teams looking to team fight very often, very frequently, and very bloody.
I think sorry. I think solely based off of compositions, I do favor Owl Corps Gaming. However, I think that when it comes to how we saw the teams in game number one and how they can bring it into game number two, I think that I'm going to leverage myself towards Summit Esports Wawa. I think that Owl Corps Gaming did have a stronger bot lane in game number one, but I think if Summit Esports can really get together and find a way to win and are able to really start scaling dragons instead of scaling for void grubs, then that Smolder is going to get a little bit more powerful since you're going to be able to get onto Soul Point a little bit easier than what we saw in game number one. But even when they were down 2 dragons, they were able to slowly build it back up. We saw their team fighting macro and micro, both being absurdly strong. And I think that Owl Corps Gaming needs to find an answer if they want to be able to bring this to a map number 3.
Yeah, like this game kind of has the script flipped a little bit, you know. This time, Yone will have a lot more priority in that mid lane. Same thing with the Ornn. Ornn, notorious, you know, the tank, mage, assassin, bruiser, fighter. It has a lot of early base damage, especially if you can hit that brittle. And then bot lane's a little different. Kaisa gonna be having a little bit of a rough time early. Jinx, you know, Kaisa notoriously having really bad laning phases against champs that outrange her severely, especially Jinx. She's been getting hit with a lot of various buffs and nerfs since last patch and a little bit this patch. So this time, Summit Esports, they're not going to have a lot of that early strength here. So we're going to see how they play with the game slowed out, or if they're just going to play at the exact same pace with this team composition. But for now, we're going to take a short little break as we wait for the spectator delay to count down, and we get into game 2 between Alcor Gaming and Summit Esports Wawas. Welcome back, everybody, to the Summer's Rift of Game 2 between Alcor Gaming and Summit Esports. Wawa, as already we see Alcor looking to do some shenanigans here instead of a 5-point. They're looking to invade topside here, looking to get a little bit of vision here. More not quite going to spot it yet, but not a lot of real CC there. Team Mukaria looking to go on the flank here. Morton doesn't quite spot it yet, but now he's going to suss it out there, able to get on out there. Orange going to pop the fissure. Not really going to touch Morn, but vision already going down here. So using the scanner, gonna break that ward, and Alcor gonna look to get a little bit of information there. But Summit Esports popping some wards onto the enemy blue side here, getting a little bit of information of their own.
Completely circling around the Summit Esports Wawa side of the jungle. Not going to be able to connect onto anybody, finding nothing out. Instead, it's going to be Summit Esports conceding control of the jungle and just going to be playing on their merry old way. Placing some ward, looking to control vision here. Seeing that the Hecarim is playing aggressive, it does seem like some rotations have been made. The Renekton going to be coming in for a pinch. However, 3 people being spotted by the ward, it is most likely going to be left to their own devices. Instead, we look back over towards this bot side, where it's going to be the Diana who's going to be called out by the Ornn. Instead, they're going to have to back up just a little bit once more. And a lane swap coming into play as well, with his Ornn going to put onto the bot side of the map, going against
Sprinkler.
Up towards the top side. Sprinkler forced out of the flash.
That is a very good job there for Team Mukaria, moving with his jungler. Not really too dependent on that, the XP, but gonna have a little bit of a spectator bug here. But for now, we get to kind of take the bask in the glory of this Hecarim, you know, pushing out Sprinkler there, running away with his tail between his legs, half HP, no flash, not able to really go topside here. Well, we're gonna have my light little pause here. But for now, I mean, we don't see what is it? Lane swaps very often in kind of like amateur play, but in a game like this, you definitely want to see, you know, we talked about it at the beginning, Kai'Sa Rakan, they're not going to do too hot into the Jinx Lulu, or very low econ there, being on a tank salary, so it should be pretty fine in that in the bot lane against the Jinx Lulu, and you know, very hard to dive, especially, you know, because not a lot of real CC. But like looking at the comp again, like that's already Alcor off to a pretty nice start here. You know, they're going for that lane swap. They're looking to invade onto the jungle here. So Alcor, they're gonna grab the Summit Esports red buff here. So Diana might possibly look the vertical jungle here. But for now, it's a pretty sizable lead here. It's a nice solid lead here for Alcor to start off this game too.
Yeah, but we're going to be going to a quick little break before we can get back into the action. Make sure to stay tuned for that, but that's going to be it from us for just a little bit, because we got more League of Legends just on the other side.
Welcome back, everybody, as we get on to the rift of game two between uh, Owl, man, I forgot. Owl Core Gaming and Summit Esports Wawa. Unfortunately, there were some technical difficulties, so we're gonna kind of kicked us out of the stream here. So we're gonna have to kind of do a slightly less than ideal POV stream here from the POV of Morn, the Summit Esports jungler here. But already, I mean, looking at it, it's 3-1 already. A feat of warfare claimed by the side of Owl Esports. So this game definitely going a little bit more in their favor here. But more looking to get level 6 here. Lane pushed in the mid lane by the side of by the Owl core mid laner. So looking to get that reset off. But next objective on the table is going to be the Drake here. It's going to be a Cloud Drake, so not too much of a rush here for either team to really do anything. But for now, the game's kind of slowing down a little bit until these grubs do come up here, looking like grubs were claimed by the side of Alcor.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing the POV of the Diana, which obviously is a problem, but at least now we can see the ability cooldowns for everyone on the right side of the screen. So make sure you look at that because that does allow us to get that information. Renekton going to be 3 minutes up on that TP cooldown, which is definitely a big thing to know and gives them that little bit of advantage when it comes down to who's going to be that player to really take advantage and bring this game into their favor. Now, Diana, while clearing the jungle, they're definitely not going to be contested just yet. Unfortunately for us, we do not get to get that immediate access to the bush warfare, understanding everyone's way around the field. Only our team over at Summit Esports, but when it comes down to it, I mean, they have been showing time and time again that they can skirmish well. So to be at 3-1 on that kill scoreboard, it's definitely not going to be looking perfect. Right now, Scuttle Crab is going to be taken offline. We look down towards the bot side. It definitely seems like that could be a place of contention, but instead opting to potentially go and invade
Ooh.
enemy lines,
As
putting up
top
some
side,
information. Oh, and
Orn
top
gonna pick
side
up that kill onto the Renekton there. So overall, this is definitely a different beast here. This time around, Radiohead kind of asserting his will. They're having a lot stronger of a jungle presence with that Hecarim. You know, be able to clear a lot faster here using the advantage of the three grubs. They're gonna knock down a couple plates in the top side here, but it will not be for naught. As Summit Esports, they will take this first Drake of the game here as their bot lane will start to push in for that prio. But for anybody that doesn't know, the lane swap is mostly made just for like bot lanes that like don't have very ideal matchups, i.e. the Kai'Sa into the Jinx. So Kai'Sa does lane swap a little bit, get a little bit of that lead, because the first like couple levels, like levels like 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 are the most volatile. So you kind of want to dip out of the lane a little bit, soak up a little XP, get a smidge more gold into your pocket before you kind of go match up with your lane opponent and start skirmishing. But top side, it looks like Radiohead will start up those grubbies there, looking to claim 6 grubs for himself, but Sprinkler is going to put a wrench in those plans here, pushing him off, not really knowing where this should know where the Diana is. Did pop kill the Drake, but it looks like they're looking for the dive. Morn gonna get spotted out, but the wave is coming in. Django gonna get slowed down, gonna get rooted up, and that's gonna be 2 members getting taken down here. Super Mega Death Rocket gonna claim 1, but that is going to be the polymorph, not quite going to let the Lulu live. So it's gonna be a 1-for-2 trade, but overall it is a win. But there goes Yone going on in with the fate sealed, but Lake Spur gonna have to be real careful here. No ultimates left for both sides, but we're gonna have another freeze once again here. As yep, there we go, right back onto the rift. But it looks like grubs were claimed by the side of Alcor game here, as Renekton is gonna get aggressed upon there. Whoa, Yone almost interrupted that reset. Renekton will have to slice and dice getting over the wall there. But overall, 6 grubs is going to be a very nice trade there for a single Drake here in favor of Owl Esports or Alcor.
Alcor taking the lead, but immediately that lead is going to be insanely gapped, with the Renekton going to be falling down to an 0-2 scoreline, picking up a Black Cleaver, though. When that respawn comes in, we're going to be seeing back over towards jungle, some camps getting cleared out, buying up Leandris as the first item. Not the most conventional pick on Diana, but it is definitely going to be interesting seeing them being able to really burn down those tanks. And I mean, I don't love the Leandris, but I don't hate it either on a character like Diana. So let's see how that's going to work out for them. We go back over towards jungle, and we just get to see some more camps getting destroyed. Unfortunately, it's not the most ideal situation, but once they get down to the bot lane, it's definitely not going to be ideal for Owl Corp.
Yeah, Diana once again gonna be pathing into that bot side here. It's gonna be a bit of a 3v3. Yone is also there waiting in the winds here. They're gonna want to look for it. The Grand Entrance gonna go in, gonna whiff, but they're gonna flash forward with the quickness, but not gonna be enough. It does have the Super Mega Death Rocket a little low on mana, and not gonna be enough as Lakesburg will be able to get on out there. Void Seeker gonna get a little more chunk onto that Lulu, but Ornn is off the map. They don't know where he's at, know where he is, so he's gonna have to be a little bit careful. Renekton proxying up in that top side here. Lots of plates being claimed by the side of Summit Esports, but they really want to look for that dive. That bot lane tier 1 is looking real low, real juicy. Team Mukaria does not have flash, does not have ult, so it's gonna force them to back off there as Radiohead gonna not be able to claim his own Krugs there. As the Grand Entrance is going in, they're going to use the E to get out, but the ult goes through, and that's going to be a Super Mega Death Rocket claiming 2 members of Owl Core Gaming as they overstayed a little bit too long just for a couple of measly Kruggets.
It was a really unfortunate situation there. Hit by the Diana ulti first, and then combined with the rocket to secure a double kill,
Ooh, slow
bringing
down there.
them back
Fate
into
Seal
this
gonna get
game.
flushed
Ult
away.
comes.
Morn gonna get aggressed upon, but Radiohead gonna claim a big shutdown for himself there. Lots of kills going over the both sides. 7-6 is the score line, and the game is already starting to get blown wide open.
And we look back over that bot side as well. We can see BF Blade as well as Hu Tao's already being built by the Jinx, looking to scale heavily with a 2-0 with 3 assists as that KDA. It definitely seems like this Jinx can be the player to really start making plays. And then once we get to that 20-30 minute mark, that Essence Reaver and Tunneler on this Smolder are definitely going to become those powerhouse items that could definitely create some insane chemical reactions with this team to absolutely obliterate their opponent.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, they did that lane swap, to try to get themselves a bit of a lead, but unfortunately, Team Lucaria has been getting all the kills. No real gold is getting funneled into Jenku. This is a complete 180 of what happened game one. Gonna get spotted on a couple wards here. Morn will be. Drake gonna be spawning up real soon. Not quite sure what it is, but Harold also spawning in about a minute. So it looks like it might be another trade for both these teams here. But it's only 1 Drake to 6 Grubs as mid lane tier 1 is getting aggressed upon. Team Lucaria on a bit of a flank, but not really able to do much. 4 members of Alcor Gaming are here in that mid lane. They're prepared to fight for this Drake. It's going to be a Hex Tech Drake. So the Soul not quite on the table yet. So it's going to be another volatile fight once again here. Top lane tier 1 claimed by the Ornn a bit ago with the double grubs. So lots of towers being claimed by both sides here. But pings coming through. Not sure where the heck the bot lane or the jungler for Alcor Gaming is here, so not too keen on trying to start it up. Gonna spot that control ward, but for now, Herald gonna spawn in about 10 seconds here, so it's gonna be a bit of a could be a bit of a trade for both these teams. As ping's coming through, Renekton gonna come on through mid here, and it's gonna be a bit of a team fight. That's gonna be a quickness coming through. There goes the Horn right on top of the Lulu, and she will be the first casualty of war there. As Root's gonna go onto Lake Spur here. There goes the Redemption, gonna heal everybody up to full HP, as that's going to be the first kill claimed here by Owl Esports. As the Fate Seal gonna come on through. Jinx is still free hitting. No real CC left to get onto that Jinx. Jinx is a little low mana. That's a 2-man Diana ult. As a Hecarim's gonna have to use the Shadow of War to get on out there, knock up onto the Renekton to clear out. But Yone's still coming in, looking for a bit of a trade, as that's going to be a 4v5 victory there. No real casualties, but lots of low blinking health bars, as that mid lane tier 2 is also blinking.
I mean, it was good. Only the Lulu was the only person to fall, conceding the fight from the Owls. going to not be happy about that. They're going to be giving over a Drake, but that's not going to be as bad as dying. As we remember, the Ornn was really starting to get melted down on their health bar. Looks like we might be seeing another engagement over towards mid side as well.
Yeah, it looks like both these teams they're gonna try to aggress for this Herald here, so no real trade for Owlcore. But more and Ping's coming through, gonna clear up a camp. 10, but the bear or the Herald is going to get started up. Both mid laners for these teams are in that bot lane here, but it looks like this Herald is going to go over without a contest. So that's going to be a Drake getting pick another tower possibly getting picked up here for the side of Owlcore, depending on how they use it. And the feats of strength claimed by Owlcore as a little bit of fighting in that mid lane 3v2. The Lulu is very strong at keeping that Jinx safe there, as the mid lane tier 2 will fall in favor of Summit Esports. But right now, just mostly just a bit of farming. It's not as bloody as it was last game. Last game, what we were averaging like a kill or two a minute. But this time, game's kind of slowed down a little bit, a little more objective focus. Both teams just kind of trading back and forth here. But it looks like Diana going for that Rift Maker here, kind of going for that bruisery Diana build. That's what's been a little more popular lately. But lane swaps coming in. Summit Esports looking to push into that top tier 1, knock that down. So they're going to knock down all the outer towers and break this map wide open. As there goes the Ornhorn in the top side, going to clear out the wave. Sprinkler going to have to be a little bit careful there. The cannon is still alive, but it will get taken down here. But they're just going to brute force this tower as Orange is forced to give up this tower.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just a good play there. Some esports able to take the first tower in the top side, so they're definitely going to be happy there. And it seems like this orange still hasn't really conceded just yet. And with some more minions coming back into play, we're going to be seeing a cannon minion be the next to come through. And it really just seems like Summit Esports has kind of found their footing despite being down earlier. They've completely changed up the pace of the game and are starting to take the lead.
Man, they've blown this map wide open. They've already taken 2.5 towers. 2 towers on the top side. Mid lane is half health. So Morn looking on the wings there, looking to engage onto this Kaisa, but they did get that kill on the Renekton in the bot lane, but they're not really trading anything. They just get a single kill, but no real good objectives. No neutral objectives will spawn for about another 2.5 minutes here. Otacon will be spawning in that bot side with the Drake timer also. So it's gonna be a bit of a fight. If you lose that Drake fight, you lose the Otacon also. So right now, Summit Esports, they asserted that power and they just pushed down top lane. Orange not really able to do anything with that wave.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the Diana now backing to try and pick up a Rift Maker. Going to do it. And yeah, it's just a good early game there. And it seems like the side of some of these sports, Wawa, they're going to want to start trying to fight for this Herald. Or not Herald, sorry, this Drake.
It's going to be Voracious Atacon spawning into the bot side. Herald's going to get spawned into the mid lane. But all members of Summit are here. They're not going to be able to really get this Herald in. It's going to be really hard unless they look for the team fight more on the side here. Orange getting chunked down, going to get polyed up. So he's going to have to be really careful. That's going to be a 3-man moonfall. And there goes the Rakan with the counter engage. The Ornhorn coming through. We're going to be getting a 3-man knockup as the Diana is still going in deep. Super Mega Death Rocket going to land right on top of Orange. But Orange has a lot of armor. Zap going to go through. They're going to still chase him down. But that's mid lane tier 2 going down. Sprinkler going to push the rest of his team off. That was a 4v5 in Summit Esports. They are taking the pain to Owlcore right now, even in a teammate deficit. They're going to start clearing out this vision, but that's going to be a sus teleport coming through. That looks like it's going to be the Ornn. They're going to come through. There goes the traps going down. Lakespur going to get the fate unsealed, but he will not land it at all. There goes the Hecarim going into the backside, but Jinx is going to get a big 3-man knockup by Orange, and they're going to be members of Summit Esports falling down like dominoes as Lakespur finally has the power spike there with the stacks. But it's going to be 2 members of Summit Esports falling as there goes Shake Lakespur once again. Great entry is going to go through, and that's going to be May going down, and that's going to be 3 members of Summit Esports taken down as the Otacon is still on the table with Drake up in 30 seconds.
It was a good fight. We saw some of these sports starting to fall after taking a really good start to the engagement over in the mid lane. They were not able to keep up the pace while trying to transfer over towards Dragon. And when they got there, it was a complete re engagement coming in from the Owl Core. And despite being up in numbers, despite being up in that kind of ramping stacks that they have been on, where they had that smolder going up, it just seemed like they could not finish out in the end.
Yeah, Mei has perfect CS, but that's two big neutral objectives getting claimed by the side of Summit Esports. But like you were saying, I mean, the Smolder was scaling, but they were at this deficit. They had such low health bars, they weren't able to reset. Orange with that very aggressive TP, knowing his limits. The shit, Lakespur did miss most of his abilities, but you're Yone. Doesn't matter if you hit most of them as long as you hit one. But they're still kind of waiting for this really big 5v5 team fight. Smolder finally hitting his big power spike. So now both these hyper carries are going to start rampaging through these team fights here. But lots of great follow-up engage for the side of Owlcore as they're going to start kind of clearing up these waves here, kind of controlled up their side lanes because they're missing a lot of outer top. They're pretty much missing all their outer towers except for the bot lane tier 2. The Herald really didn't get them too much in the mid lane. Didn't even charge actually. So they're gonna need to try to brute force that tower down to open up the map a little bit more. But Aaron spawning at about a minute 45. The Grand Engine's coming through, but Otacon buff will expire in like 30 seconds. They're gonna have to try to make use of this false life.
And immediately we're going back over to the mid lane. Seems like an engagement might be on the cards with this tier 1 tower looking to get engaged upon. The assault will need to be good. You cannot just have these two players in this Kaisa and Rakan if you want to be able to secure a tower, but it's going to require this Yone who's coming in immediately. The blast gun is going to get them over the wall, and they're going to be able to back out.
Right now, I mean, it's Summit. They're trying to siege, but they don't have good siege. Kaisa is too short range. The rest of Owl Core is too short range. They really want to knock down this mid lane tier 1, but there goes the Yone, gonna use the Soul Unbound, as there goes the Rakan. He's gonna get knocked up, get interrupted. No grand entrance, no more engage, but they will get that tier 1 tower in the mid lane. So finally, all the outer towers gone for the side of Summit Esports, but they're gonna still keep pushing. Lulu speeding up with the polymorph, trying to push the rest of Owlcore out, but the Baron's going to spawn up in 30 seconds here. They're going to have that priority, so it's going to be really rough here as Owlcore. They're going to have to kind of walk into this jungle blind here, but resets are coming through, so both these teams are going to have similar timings on this Baron here, and we're going to get another big team fight.
Oh, yeah. Immediately we're seeing what seems to be a comeback, potentially. Still one mid tower and one top tower remaining for the side of Summit Esports. But when we look over towards the bottom lane, there's only one side in favor of their opponent in this Owl Core squad. Now, I think realistically speaking, you kind of do have to favor Owl Squad in most regards due to the fact that they are doubling in kills right now. Unfortunately, due to a couple of errors, we're no longer able to see the actual gold count, but you have to imagine that due to the 0-3 Renekton, it's going to be very favorable towards this Owl Core squad, especially since Renekton is not a character who can scale. So their whole real purpose in this game now is to utilize that Black Cleaver and remove armor from their opponents.
Yeah, the Renekton's kind of just a bit more of a utility beast now, because gonna have to enable his Jinx and Smolder to kind of run these fights. But Ornn itemizing very well here, just going straight armor. Diana's not too much of an issue onto this Ornn. So gonna have to be a little bit careful here. Renekton not able to match any opponent in the side lane there with the soul unbound to the bot lane. That's gonna be a flash sprinkler, almost dying there with a solo bolo. But able to barely get out by the hair on his chinny chin chin. As the Baron is going to be completely dark there. Drake going to be spawning in about a minute. It's going to be Soul Point. It will be Soul Point for the side of Summit Esports, or just another Drake here and a team fight victory for Owlcore. But right now, the map is looking pretty dark here. Teams, they can't really walk in. You walk in, you're going to die. So both these teams, they're looking to walk up into this Drake here as two members of Alcor getting spotted in the mid lane also. Uh, Timu Carey going to get spotted in the bot side jungle. As very shallow wards coming through, teleport coming in by Sprinkler. They're going to look for this fight here. They really want that soul point. They kind of want to swing this game into their favor. For now, mid lane priority being contested by both teams. Sprinkler looking to go in. Smolder, ping's coming through. Soul Unbound going to go down. Lots of chunk there, but that's going to be a two-man knockup with the Ornhorn. There goes Redemption there by the Lulu. Orn is going to get chunked down. There goes the ultimate into the backside there with the grand entrance by the Rakan, and that's gonna be one kill going over to both sides here. As Morn coming through, he's gonna keep on fighting Lakespur in the backside. There goes the Deadly Instinct into the backside, and that's gonna be 2 kills going over, 3 kills going over, triple kill going over, quadra kill going over to Janju. As the Drake will be on the cards for this team, but they're looking to push down mid lane instead.
It was really good there. We got to see a quadra kill get converted over for Alcor, doing a great job looking to secure match number 3. Can they do it? This is it. A assault full forward onto the opponent's nexus. Will they be able to completely commit into this? The answer is going to be no. Backing up, minions are going to start chunking down the turrets. However, the rest of the team is going to be opting out.
Yeah, they should have probably looked for the objective, but they got enough time here. A couple of wards still, so they're gonna have to kind of burn this pretty fast here. But that's gonna be 2 Chemtech Drakes going over to the side of Owlcore. I mean, Chemtech, not the greatest soul in the world. It is the lowest win rate soul. But Ornn is already level 14, starting to pump out those upgrades here. First upgrade going over to that Yone. But it looks like they're gonna keep burning up. I don't think they're burning the Drake down. Okay then. Um, Looks like they're just gonna kind of reset the fight once again here. Lakespur gonna have to be a little bit careful that he doesn't get aggressed upon here. He's playing real ballsy there. He's gonna get hit with the Moonfall. Fate Sealed will only seal his own, and that's gonna be a big shutdown going over to the side of Morn, and that could be the Baron start for the side of Summit Esports. As ping's coming through, Ornn is in the bot side. There goes Alcor. They're going to get spotted on the mid lane. They will start moving in to this Baron. It is a little bit dark. They don't know where the vision is. But here they come. They're coming around. But it looks like they're just going to give it. They're going to give the Baron away with 0 contest. They're going to trade for the Drake instead.
It was really good seeing them in absolute domination, a masterclass performance coming out from this Owl squad, taking the Drake, going to be conceding the Baron by the looks of it. But it seems like potentially winnable. With the Yone getting taken offline, it does definitely allow for this to be converting over towards the win rate of a 2-0. Obviously, we've seen them play 2 matches so far for Summit Esports. Both have ended in a 2-1, one of them being in their favor, the other one not. So I think if it does go to a match number 3, they're definitely going to be favorites in that sense. They definitely have dealt with the nerves before plenty of times. They're not going to want to let that pressure get to them here and now. Seems like this Diana might also be looking to pick up an hourglass because I guess they think that they're ahead here. Since if you're behind, you want to build that damage. If you're above, you want to be building for armor so you can't die anymore.
Morn is that primary engage for his team, and he's been getting really big moonfalls in the backside. So definitely going to need that extra survivability to deny a lot of these resets, with the triumph and such in these team fights. But Yone going to be in that top side, going to push onto that top lane tier 2. But with the Baron, you're going to have to reset. They're going to knock down this mid lane inhibitor. Orange going to hit the blast cone coming onto the side here. But that's going to be mid lane inhibitor melted by the side of Summit Esports, as they're just going to keep on pushing. You have a Jinx. Teleport's coming through. They're going to look for this team fight. Smolder ult coming through. Mom is going to rampage across the team, but that's going to be a solo knockup onto the Jinx. Void coming through, but that's going to be a grand entrance only onto one member. It's only going to be onto Sprinkler, but Orange going to get burned down. 5-man moonfall as a team fight victory coming through for the side of Summit Esports, as Jinx or Kaisa will be the last man standing. He will get taken down. Hecarim coming in with the ultimate, but it will not amount to nothing, as that's going to be a 2-0 victory here for Summit Esports Wawa.
Summit Esports Wawa taking the win in a 2-0 fashion despite being down heavily earlier, doing a phenomenal job at bringing themselves back up from the brink. And as the cloud in the dust settles, it's only going to be the moon shining from the Diana. And it literally was a phenomenal game number two. Game number one, a little bit more one sided, but towards the end there, we saw some phenomenal gameplay coming out from each and every Summit Esports Wawa player. And you got to give credit where credit is due.
Man, that's two massive game-winning engages by Morn. That man is an absolute animal. They played for that scaling and they played for these crucial team fight moments. I'm clipping it right now, actually, because that was pretty darn dope, you know? Because you're going to want to see that again. But that was such a crazy ultimate there. Alcor, they had a good lead early, but like those team fights just weren't really going their way. They were very desynced in all their engages. Summit Esports, they just played to bide their time. They didn't rush anything too crazy, and they get these big team fight ultimates and they win the game 2-0. Pretty clean.
It definitely was a great victory for Summit Esports, going up 2-1. But that's going to be it from us in this best of three series. Make sure to tune in more. Sorry, I just had a mini something. But we're going to have more games coming in the future. So make sure to stay tuned on the Summit Esports channel for that. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Jerry J, joined by Banana Bread with our great producer, Summit Rev number one in the background. But thank you all so much for watching. Peace.